Everyone, it is June 3rd, 2025, and the current time is 7:40 p.m. The Missouri Public Service Commission has set this time for a local public hearing to give members of the public a chance to comment about the application in case number GR 2025-0107. It's captioned as "In the matter of Spire, Missouri Incorporated, doing business as Spire's request for authority to implement a general rate increase for natural gas service provided in the company's Missouri service areas." The Missouri Public Service Commission regulates investor-owned utility companies in Missouri and ensures that rates are just and reasonable. The Commission also regulates the quality of service and the safety of the operations of investor-owned utilities. The commission is made up of 5 commissioners, however, there are currently only 4. Chair Kayla Hahn and Commissioners Maida Coleman, Glenn Kolkmeyer, and John Mitchell. The commissioners are appointed by the governor to fixed terms and then confirmed by the Senate. They employ a staff of engineers, accountants, attorneys, financial analysts, and other specialists in the field of utility regulation. With me today online are all 4 commissioners, Chair Hahn, Commissioner Coleman, Commissioner Kolkmeyer, and Commissioner Mitchell. Commissioners, if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to interrupt me and ask them. My name is Riley Fuel, and I'm the regulatory law judge presiding over this hearing. This is an official hearing of the Public Service Commission of Missouri, and the statements and testimony of witnesses will be recorded by the court reporter and must be given under oath or affirmation. The commission has not made any decision in this case, and neither the commissioners nor myself can answer any questions about the issues of the case today, because the commission must remain impartial until all evidence is presented. As we want to provide all attendees an adequate opportunity to speak today, we will limit the time for testimony to only 3 minutes. I would ask that everyone remain muted unless you are directed to speak so that everyone can be heard and understood for the court reporter. If you or someone you know would like to make additional comments, there is a comments tab that can be reached via the commission's website, psc.mo.gov. On the right side of the homepage, there's a link titled Submit Comments. Click on that link to submit your comments. Make sure that you are referencing this case number, GR 2025-0107. There will also be 3 other local public hearings. The first at St. Joseph at noon tomorrow, then Kansas City at 6 p.m. tomorrow, and the final in Joplin at 6 p.m. on Thursday. If you or anyone you know would like to attend any of those other local public hearings, please let staff or OPC know before you leave today to get further details. The court reporter is transcribing this hearing so that the commission may review and read the comments later. Chair Hahn, would you like to make opening remarks?
Of course. Thanks, Judge Fuel. Appreciate it. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our local public hearing this evening. I know it's a little bit late for the testimony to the commission to get started, which hopefully means there's been a very robust question and answer session. The commission is here in its entirety this evening, and so on behalf of the entire commission, we look forward to hearing your comments, and we'll absolutely take those into consideration as we weigh our decisions moving forward. And with that, just looking forward to hearing your thoughts and comments. Thanks, Judge.
Thank you, Chair. And we can begin with the parties making their entries of appearance, beginning with Spire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Antonio Arias on behalf of Spire, Missouri, Inc.
For the commission's staff.
Scott Stacy, Deputy Counsel for Staff Counsel's Office, representing staff, 200 Madison Street, Jefferson City, Missouri, 65101.
Thank you. And the Office of Public Counsel.
John Kleiser, on behalf of the Office of Public Counsel. Thank you.
And are there any interveners today, present today, that would like to enter their appearance? Okay. For those who would like to provide comments today, I'm going to call the witnesses listed on the sign-up sheet in the order that they appear. When I call your name, please unmute yourself. I will then place you under oath and ask you to state and spell your name, and then you can offer your comments to the commission. As I stated before, we're limiting testimony to only 3 minutes so that everyone has a chance to be heard tonight. Please remain available after your remarks until you've been excused, because the commission may have questions for you, and the attorneys may also have questions from you, of you. And they can let me know at that time. Kylie Hamill is the first name I have listed. And it's *6 if you're appearing by cell phone. Is Kylie Hamill here? Okay, I could circle back. Rachel Hansen.
That's me.
Can you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Rachel Hansen, RACHEL HANSON.
What would you like to tell the commission?
I am a Kansas City resident and a Spire customer, and I'm requesting that the commission not approve any amount of rate increase to Spire services. In Spire's proxy statements, they state that they closely link executive compensation to company performance. In 2024, Spire's 5 executives earned over $9.3 million in salaries, stock awards, and other forms of compensation. Last year, Stephen Lindsay, Spire's former president and CEO, received almost $3.4 million in compensation just by himself. Spire received a cash influx as a result of their 3 approved rate increases in 2021 and 2022. $10.8 million of that went into the pockets of 5 Spire executives in 2022, and $11.4 million of it went to them in 2023. Right before I joined this call, I was volunteering at my community food pantry, where every week more and more people are being fed because the cost of everything is out of control. Many Missourians are working multiple jobs and doing without basic necessities because people like Stephen Lindsay, Scott Doyle, Stephen Rash, Michael Gieselhart, and Ryan Hyman are allowed to reach into our pockets and take our hard-earned money. We, the people of Missouri, should not be expected to subsidize performance increases for millionaires and dividends for shareholders of a publicly traded company.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Elise Diane Schaefer. Is *6 if you're appearing by cell phone to unmute. Is Elise Diane Schaefer here? Okay. Brent Whitesell. Is Brent Whitesell on? Again, it is *6 to unmute if you're appearing by cell phone. Jennifer Janes. Jennifer Janes on. Dara Jones. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name. Is Dara Jones on?
This is Dara Jones, yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
This is
Can you
Dara
please raise
Jones.
your right
Can you
hand?
hear me now? Yeah.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yeah.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Dara Jones, ARAJONEF.
Thank you. You may proceed.
As a new resident to the state of Missouri and the St. Louis greater area, I was a bit sticker shock, if you will, to some of the costs related, expecting some increase based on where I relocated from, but still quite surprised by some of the costs, especially with utilities and specifically with Spire. Have already experienced in the short amount of time that we've been here significant increases in the utilities than what we are used to, and am stating in this hearing that I would oppose a rate increase at all as well, and especially a 14% increase based on the information that I've gathered and heard even this evening earlier. I'm not seeing how that rate increase is fair and equitable for the people of Missouri. And so I just ask the commission to consider not increasing the rate. And I encourage Spire to continue to look for other options through their shareholders and through their executive team for other options instead of passing the burden onto the consumer, the end consumer. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Tim Bodine. Is *6 to unmute.
This is Tim Bodine.
Okay, Tim, can you raise your right hand?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Yes, it's Tim Bodine. It's TIMBODINE.
Thank you. You may proceed with your comments.
Yes, my comments are short. I can say that I'm in agreement with some of the ones that have spoken previously. I just really want Spire to consider such a large increase at one time. If there's, hopefully there's been some thought of a gradual increase over time. I realize that they're a publicly traded company. They're obligated to their shareholders to make a profit. However, it's hard for people that are on fixed incomes, especially the elderly. I know they offer help to those type of folks, but really 15% is a lot in comparison to the inflation, the current inflation rate. And I know that that's been explained off by some of the folks at Spire that it really isn't, but 15% is a lot. And I just think that there's a better way. I'm certainly not opposed to not ever having a rate increase. Certainly we've seen that amongst other utilities. So the expectation is that needs to happen, but just the large increase all at one time instead of gradual over time. That's what I would ask Spire to consider. Thank you.
For your comments, sir. Ashley Kraft,
Present.
please raise your right hand.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes, I do.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Yes. ASHLEYCRAFT.
What would you like to tell the commission?
So I'd like to echo everything that the others have said. I also oppose the rate increase. It's just getting more and more expensive for the cost of living. And to see yet another rate increase, it's just becoming, where are you going to find the money? And in addition to that, I attended the noon virtual session. And when I asked for the breakdown of where this money would be going, it became apparent that they had to spend the money already to ask for the rate increase. And so I'd also like to have us, question the fact of what are we putting in place system-wise to better protect all of us from future rate increases? There needs to be
not as broken of a system as we spend the money and then we ask for the rate increase. So that is where I stand. I definitely oppose the rate increase and would like to have folks think about the future.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Colleen Teppen?
Yes.
Star 6 to unmute if you're calling by cell.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Please raise your right hand.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Colleen Tapen, COLLEEN, TEPEN.
What would you like to tell the commission?
I'm wanting to, I'm again against any rate increase at all. I heard one of the attorneys state that they were going to try to negotiate an increase and lower it, but I am against any rate increase. And I'm a resident of St. Louis County in Baldwin. There's several reasons, but one of the reasons is our recent tornado. People were not doing well before that, and now their homes are devastated, and they cannot afford this. I'm a nurse practitioner. I see patients in their homes, and people can't afford this. They can't afford basic necessities right now, especially. And we've already had a quarter of, our growth in our economy is now reversed, and we're shrinking, and we're potentially going into a recession. We cannot afford this. I understand Spire has expenses, but they had an increase. I read that they had an increase in profit in 2024. Their profit increased. So they didn't just make a profit, they had more profit. So why are they asking for a 15% increase on rates for people that need this service? And the second reason I'm completely against any increase at all is because I come from a family with multiple people and my patients with chronic lung diseases. That's not talked about enough, but fracked gas is very bad for the climate. It primarily is methane. It increases the heat and climate. It increases it by 6 times stronger than other forms of gas for climate with greenhouse gases, and it affects people with chronic lung diseases and my children who have to live on this planet after we're all gone. So I'm completely against it for health reasons as well as climate change and financial reasons. No increase at all. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Brian Jones. Is star 6 to unmute
Yes,
yourself if
I'm
you're
here.
appearing by phone. Okay. Can you please
Yes,
raise
I'm
your right
right
hand?
here.
Do
Okay.
you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Brian, Brian Jones, Jones.
You may proceed with your comments.
Well, about everything that's been said, I agree with. I do understand that there has to be a rate increase with everything has to be done with I understand that things have to be, the rate increase, I understand it, and the need for new technology. I understand it. I disagree with it, but I understand it.
I disagree with
I
it.
only wish that there could be a better way for it. But I do understand it. And in these days and times that we are living in, I'm hopeful that Spire will do all that they can, that the commissioners will do all that they can to consider the people of the state of Missouri. I live in Kansas City, which is part of Jefferson County. I've been here my whole life, all my 52 years. I have been blessed to receive service by Spire all of my life. And the best I can say is I hope that continue receiving the best cost of service by fire for myself and for all of us here in Kansas City and Jackson County.
Thank you for your comments. Leslie Schoenenmeyer,
I'm here.
can you please
I'm
raise your
here.
right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Leslie Schoenmeyer, Leslie Schuenemeyer.
You may proceed with your comments.
Thank you, Your Honor and Commissioners. Like the others who spoke before me, I do agree with their comments and oppose the proposed 15% increase. You know, it's not like I have a choice or we have a choice in any other utility provider. I can't shop around for a better rate and make the most efficient use of my budgetary dollars. I think that a 15% increase is excessive. Yes, I understand there is a cost of doing business and there is a cost to needing to make some improvement, but I also think that Spire has the responsibility to act more efficiently, be less excessive, and function in the best interest of its customers. You know, I wish Missouri could be and would be out of the natural gas business. We really need to be exploring other avenues, but that's a whole other issue. So I just wanted to express my viewpoint on opposing the rate increase, and I thank you for your time.
Your comments, ma'am. Ashley Goins is *6 to unmute yourself if you're appearing by phone. Is Ashley online? Ashley Goins.
This is Abigail Goins, but
Oh, sorry. You're right.
okay.
I misread. I don't
No,
know
you're
how I
fine.
misread. Can you please raise your right hand?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes.
Can you please spell your name for the record?
Yes. It's Abigail, last name Goins.
All right. What would you like to tell the commission?
Yes, I'd like to start by saying that I am completely against this increase at 14% or even 1%. I haven't heard a compelling word tonight from Spire on why this is necessary, but I have heard from fellow constituents who have said that this would impose a hardship on many of us. We all know the saying, yes, that it's the cost of doing business, but Spire wants to also ignore the fact that one of the costs of doing business by a business is to audit and examine your budget and appropriately adjust for your expenses. My goal, to be honest, is a 0% increase. As a consumer, I am now hit in this country by tariffs, and Spire stated that they are not. As a Jackson County resident, I am also hit with increased property taxes. And to hear that Spire's CEO taking a pay cut was not even contemplated when they're making almost $2 million in compensation a year is, in my opinion, disgusting. I haven't heard tonight or in mailings read since Spire took the PPP loan in 2020 and 2021, how they reserved or set aside any of those funds to pay for the infrastructure costs that we are now having laid at our feet. But I'm told as an adult that I need to be saving for hard times. So I just don't think that's matching up. With Spire's profit margins being around 9.6% and most salaries in this city increasing by hopefully 1 to 3% a year if you're lucky, this will only increase the property level in this city and in this state. I work a 40-hour-a-week job, but let's be real, that's probably about 60 hours a week if we're all being honest. I take care of my home. I take care of my husband who cannot work due to having stage 4 adrenal cancer. And if this increase takes place, my gas bill will become around $400 to $450 a month in the winter. And I have to ensure that he doesn't get sick. I should not have to make a choice between heat and medication for my husband, and I should not have to pay for shareholders for a publicly traded company. Thank you for your time, and I hope I hope everyone has a great night.
Thanks for your comments, ma'am. Taylor Shields Hillier. Is Taylor Shields Hillier here? It is *6 to unmute.
Sorry, I'm here.
Okay. You please raise your right hand.
Yep,
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to give are the truth?
yep,
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
yep. Taylor Shields Hillier, TAYLOR SHIELDS hyphen HILLYER.
What would you like to tell the commission?
I'd like to, like most people, piggyback off of I am against the 14% raise because as a family and people trying to survive in this day and age, we cannot afford more for our natural gas. I have 4 kids and I have to keep my house warm enough for them, and that's already a struggle without having a bill that's over $400. And that's with doing everything in my home. I've added insulation, I have done things to my windows. We have done everything we can to try and lessen our gas intake. Um, and even that being said, we are still getting hit with $400. And then heaven forbid you can't pay that, then you have to then get, late fees. And if you set up a payment plan, you have to pay that. And then if you are late on that payment plan, you then in turn have to pay every dime back immediately or your gas gets shut off. With Spire wanting to update the meters with some of this money, they are wanting to be able to have it have a safety feature where it's able to shut off automatically. That being said, I understand that's a great thing. That's really good. But that also means I guarantee you that if someone is late on their payments, they are going to be able to also shut off your gas right then and there without having that little bit of grace period that you typically would have with a late payment of shut off notice. You typically have about, a week before they're actually there to do it. So you can try and ask family or somehow make more money to get that paid. And that is something that is very stressful to even think about. Um, and also, I just I cannot incur another 14% or else I'm going to have to just not have heat on for half of the winter, which again, I have 4 kids. I really can't do that. We already wear hoodies and have blankets all winter anyway to try and keep our costs down. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments, ma'am. Maisha Johnson. Is *6 to unmute if you're appearing by phone.
Here,
Maisha Johnson, sorry.
I'm here.
You please raise your right
Can you
hand.
hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Maisha Johnson, MYISHA Johnson. JOHNSON. I'm sorry.
You're perfectly fine, ma'am. What would you like to tell the commission?
I would like, one, I oppose the increase due to the fact is that people are struggling after the tornado. Many North Cityans and county folks and from KC to St. Louis have lost their property and their meters are continuing to run. And you all say no disconnects until September, but if their meters are running and they're not utilizing the gas, I don't think they should be charged for that. And also due to the fact that a lot of them won't be able to rebuild their home and insurance companies are paying the city before they pay the people, they're not going to have the money after they, you know, relocate or replenish the things that they lost. It's going to be hard for them to catch up on their Spire bill and pay you what they have left over. So I really don't think that they deserve an increase. I don't think that we deserve an increase because we're already struggling as rents continue to rise, as costs for schooling and other things continue to rise. We are already facing a hardship. Thank you.
For your comments, ma'am. Laura Shilley.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you please raise your hand, your right hand?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes, I do.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Laura, Laura, Shilly, Schilli.
What would you like to tell the commission?
Well, thank you for holding this hearing. I am a 33-year-old single woman living on a modest income in St. Louis City. I've lived in the same apartment for the past 4 years, a typical older St. Louis building with poor insulation that makes heating inefficient and expensive. Even with budget billing through Spire, it's a struggle every month to keep up with expenses, including utility costs. During the winters, I often keep the heat lower than is comfortable to avoid even higher bills. I bundle up in sweaters and blankets just to get by, and I know I'm not alone, and I know there's people worse off than me. Many of us are already making tough choices between staying warm and staying afloat. And now Spire is proposing a 15% rate increase, which can be an extra $168 a year. That might not sound like much to some, but for individuals and families already very stretched thin, it's a serious burden. Prices for everything, groceries, rent, and insurance are all going up while pay raises aren't keeping pace. We also can't ignore what St. Louis residents are already going through. Many of our neighbors are still recovering from the recent tornado, facing displacement and unexpected expenses. To add a utility rate hike on top of that is deeply unfair and out of touch with the reality we're all living in. This proposed increase threatens to push even more people into hardship. I urge you to reject Spire's rate hike and instead stand with Missouri residents who are just trying to make ends meet. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. I'm gonna go back to the list. The beginning of the list is Kylie Hamill on. It is *6 to unmute yourself if you're appearing by phone. Kylie Hamill. Elise Diane Schaefer. Is Elise Diane Schaefer on? Brent Whitesell. Is Brent Whitesell there? Is *6 to unmute yourself. Jennifer Janes. Is Jennifer Janes there? Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to make comments to the commission today?
Yes, I'd like to make a comment. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You please raise
Hi,
your right
my
hand.
name is, yep, sorry.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
My name is Madeline Toohey, spelled Madeline, Toohey, Toohey.
What would you like to tell the commission?
I would just like to also echo what previous residents have stated. I myself am a resident of Florissant, and I oppose the Spire increase at 15% or any percent at all. I think that right now, economically, things are hard for everybody. I know personally things are very hard for me. My husband works in warehousing and he just got laid off. And I know a lot of people in that industry are getting laid off, especially because of the tariffs and everything. And companies are placing that burden on their lower employees and the consumers rather than, taking pay cuts from CEOs or shareholders. And I oppose that in this case as well, especially because that would just add to the burden in my household and community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. It looked like an Abby Brown raised her hand.
Yes.
Please raise your right hand.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Abigail Brown, ABIGAIL BROWN.
Sorry, I think there's two people speaking right now. Can Abby Brown, I'm gonna have her testify and then I'll go back to the general and see who else wants to. Sorry. Ms. Brown, can you restate and spell your name for the record?
Yes, Abigail Brown, ABIGAIL BROWN.
What would you like to tell the commission?
So I too oppose this rate increase. A question that was asked during the hearing was if Spire's CEO would consider taking a pay cut, to which Spire replied that pretty much no, they would not be cutting the pay of the CEO. However, rather than reducing the pay of someone who makes millions of dollars, Spire decided to implement what they called a customer affordability plan in 2024. Per the testimony of Scott Weitzel in November for this case, he states that the company decided to, and I quote, reduce headcount and offer early retirements to the employees of Spire. So I question why the pay of a CEO could not be cut, but rather they chose to reduce the number of employees they have that were likely making, an average wage and were just the everyday consumer. Additionally, given our current federal administration's extreme budget cuts, many programs that are relied on by low and moderate income consumers will likely no longer be in existence at the end of this year, likely by the end of August, for LIHEAP especially. So it's concerning that we're going to increase the rates of households who already are having trouble paying their bills, yet we have no federal plans to assist these people, and Spire will likely not greatly add funding for the costs that low-income consumers need assistance with. And that's all I have.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Is there anyone else who would like to give a comment today? Is *6 to unmute yourself if you're appearing by cell phone or cell phone.
I would like to.
Can you please raise your right hand?
Hello?
Yes. Hello? Hold on. I'm going to go to, there's a name listed as Martha, and then I think call in user number 54. I'll go to you right after.
Okay, I'm Martha. Yes.
Martha, if you can raise your right hand.
It's raised.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
I do.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Okay, my name is Martha, capital MARTHA, Thompson, capital THOMPSON.
What would you like to tell the commission?
I would like to say to the commissioners, this is not just a 15% raise. If you will look back at the records within this last 5 years, I believe this is the third raise. And I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. And so it's already been established tonight that we had a raise of 4.5%. Okay, if you add 15% to that, that's 19.5%. And I believe the raise before that was at least 1%. If we just say 1%, that puts us at 20% raise within the last 5 years. So I would like for you to consider that. And I am on a fixed income. I am a retired educator, so you know that I'm not getting a lot of money. And we do what we can do with the money that we have. And I would like for you to consider that as you all are making your decisions, that my income is not going to go up. It is basically going to pretty much be what it is for the rest of my life. And we do everything we can to keep our utilities down but also have a child who is bedridden with MS. So my house can't be hot. Can't be cold in the winter because she stays cold. So I have to run my utilities. So as you all are making your decision, think about those things. I'm just one person, and those are the things that I'm going through. And I'm sure there are people who are far worse off than I am. So I would appreciate it if you would think about that, and then think about those executives that are making $9 million for 4 or 5 people. And think about that when you're making your decision for your constituents. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Caller 54, I don't know if it tells you you're caller 54. I think I have you currently unmuted. Are you there?
Hello?
Hi.
Yes.
All right. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or
Hi,
affirm
yes.
that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes, sure.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
OZELLEFLORE to the judge and to commission.
You may proceed.
Yes, I'm glad I got unmuted. Yes, I want to agree with everybody that called in, because we have economic problems, and a lot of people are living from paycheck to paycheck, and the elderly is on a fixed income. And half of us have worked for the government all our life. And you know, when the Marines and the soldiers come here, they can't even get decent headquarters. They can't get money to take care of their medical. So where they gonna leave the fixed income residents, the elderly? I've been calling in for an application for the low income, because some of us on a budget, a fixed income, and some of us are living by, food stamps, and some on housing. And see, it's gonna push us out in the street if you haven't saved any money, or you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth, or have like relatives that leave you an inheritance. So where we gonna fall in? Work 30, 35, 40 years, and now when you see the economy, but a storm, tornadoes, and earthquakes, and people in dire distress, they can't even afford the eggs in the store. They up. Everything is up cost of living. So judge and commission, when you go home tonight, pray and think about the low people that made this world back in the day. They sweat and blood and sacrifice. We don't deserve all these high cost living. They need to cut the taxes, think about the little man. If they don't even think about, because there ain't no middle class no more. It's the rich or the poor. We got poverty. We got people on the street. I pass them on the street and hand them out some money. I tell them go to the church and get the food pantry. They on the street, judge. They on the street commission. They don't have affordable houses. They don't have luxury. They don't have a car. They don't even have food stamps. They don't have no money. So if they doing worse than we are, where they gonna find us in a couple of years? I asked them to send me an application so I can fill it out for the disability and disabled. I haven't got the application. It's been like 5 years. They put me on there in 2021. Then they made my gas bill like $39.94. When I moved here in this house in Overland, I live in Overland, Missouri. Then it was $2.19. I was able to pay $30 and $40 on gas, $20 and $30 and $40 on utilities. But now everything is going up, cost of living. I barely can pay these bills. And if you got a 2-bedroom, they jack you up to a $126 or $112 a month. And now if you marry, you could have help from your spouse. If he have a job, y'all maybe can make it. Maybe. I said maybe. But if a single person or an elderly person on fixed income, they barely can pay for their medication. They barely can pay for groceries. They shouldn't have to choose between paying MUE, Spire, or any other company, and can't eat a decent meal, skipping their meals, and can't go and get medical. They can't even pay the medical. They got to pay the prescription. Some people without life insurance, health insurance, medical insurance, they can't afford all this. So think about the people that worked through the years that made the nation great when they came over from wherever they came from, whatever state. They sweat and they worked to build. They all ante up and they all sacrifice. Think about them. Now they up in their 67 and 80, 90, 100. They don't deserve this. They say, wow, we worked all them years and this is what we get peanuts. We get crumbs. We should be living good, but we living below poverty. Poverty stricken, poverty line. Yes, I've been waiting to get on the line because I have a voice to speak. My civil rights been invaded for all these taxes, and they just flooding us out. They about to push us out the home that we live in, trying to pay the bill, judge, and commission into the street. And you know the shelter is over full. It's running over with homeless people because you know they don't want them on the street. They move them from curb to curb, and they don't have no place. And then they send all the migrants over here, and they separating their families. They about to push them back where they come from. It's a disaster, and God is not pleased. So if you could do anything, judge and commission, pray before you make that decision to do the increase. I pray that you look and think about us and do a decrease. I oppose the 14% increase rate. And thank you for hearing me. And this is Miss Ozell LaFleur. And have a good day, and may God bless you all.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am.
All right. Good day.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak tonight? Is *6 to unmute yourself? And I think there's a way to raise a hand.
I'm here.
Chelsea Williams? I'm guessing on your name.
Sorry, that's my dog. My dog's.
Do you solemnly swear or
Sorry.
affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Let me remove away from my dogs here. Hey. Sorry, everybody.
I think I'm getting some feedback.
Chelsea. CHELSEA WILLIAMS. Hey. Stop up. Sorry, everybody.
I'm not sure if the court reporter got that. I did not. Can you repeat that?
I can do
Sorry.
it again. Chelsea, CHELSEA Williams, WILLIAMS.
Thank you, ma'am. You may proceed with your comments.
I'm a senior citizen. I'm on Social Security. I bought my first house 4 years ago. I've gone through 100% property assessment increase, and then another one. And my home is really poorly insulated. So I pretty much live in one room in the winter. And I oppose this increase for all the reasons already stated. You know, some of the gal like Rachel and others who really researched these percentages of, you know, what the executives are making in terms of profit, and the lobbyists. Clearly, Spire is making money, really. And then I went through, Spire came to my home last year, tore up the streets, tore up the grass, tore up my driveway. I just patched it myself at my own expense. I've just reseeded and planted the median by the street at my expense. I mean, it's, I don't feel there's any great, and every year my gas bills go up. So I don't see the benefit really. It's going to keep costing us, the consumer more and more, while the executives make more and more profit. It just seems so unfair and so inequitable, especially in this day and age with the tariffs and all the other utilities. And the food has gone, like everyone else has said, just the price of living has gone up and up and up. So it's just really, it's kind of scary. Sorry for my dogs. It's just scary as an older person on a, fixed income to feel like I'm going to be pushed out of my house. I've only been here less than 5 years. So I guess that's my comment, really. I think that's all I have to say, but I'm opposed, pretty much.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am.
And we would just like to reiterate that there is a text number if Ms. Williams would like to provide us that specific address. It's in the chat, but the text number is also 314-735-3013. So we can
I will.
get that area, get your address, and investigate this issue.
Okay, thank you. I will text it right now, okay? To that number.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Charlene Hanson.
That's me.
Please, will you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
Yes.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Charlene Hansen, CharleneHansen.
What would you like to tell the commission?
So I'm a resident in Kansas City, Missouri. The last time I had Spire was a couple of years ago. In the winter of 2018 into 2019, my Spire bill was about $300 a month every month. I was a new mom. My son was a newborn at the time, and I was forced to go to my landlord and beg him to let me out of my lease. After several months of pleading with my landlord to let me move, he finally agreed, and I moved into an apartment that was over $100 more a month in rent. So even though I was paying more in rent, I was saving $100 to $200 a month because I no longer was paying Spire. This is before the 2021 and the 2022 increases. And my heart breaks for my community members that were not as fortunate as I am, and who are homeowners or who are stuck having to pay extraordinarily high Spire bills, and who are faced with the prospect of having to pay even higher Spire bills with this rate increase. I urge the commissioners to not allow any rate increase. Spire CEO and executives should not be making $1 million a year, let alone multiple millions of dollars per year. Spire spends hundreds of thousands of dollars on lobbyists who work against renewable energy advances, and they lobby for malicious practices to further harm Missourians, such as future test year. Spire has a history of fear mongering in St. Louis. They actively worked against Kansas City's climate protection plan, and they have proven that they put their corporate greed above the interests of Missourians, our communities, and our planet. Spire said that these increases are needed for them to be a healthy business. If we are all homeless because we can't afford the cost of living, then nobody will be paying a Spire bill. So I'm not sure how they see that this is what makes them a healthy business. Regardless of Spire's history of being an awful utility company, the reason for their increase is operating costs. And these are the costs of doing business and should not require rate increases every couple of years. This is something that is part of their business and does not require us to constantly have these rate increases. Thank you so much, commissioners, for facilitating these public hearings and for allowing us to still have in-person public hearings. I will be attending the ones in Kansas City and in Joplin in the days to continue. I urge you guys to act in the best interest of Missourians and say no to any rate increase. Thank you.
Your comments, ma'am? Is there anyone else who would like to give comments today?
I would. And
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give are the truth?
I do.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Antoinette Marshall, ANTIONETTEMARSHALL, Marshall. Sorry.
What would you like to tell the commission?
Well, I'm not going to repeat because everybody has made great points. I'm not for it. I agree with everything that's been said so far. I would like whoever's listening, whoever it matters to say that I find it a bit insulting on everybody's part that they would ask for a 15% raise on our rates. That is like, usually you get, a 6% over 3 years. There's some work there. They just went right in. And I think that's what's really upsetting to people to go, well, they're just going to raise it 15%. Like, that's not chump change. Like everybody has said, they want an increase for 15%. Well, we're not getting that on our pay. So that is something for them to think about. And that's all I wanted to say.
For your comments, ma'am. Is there anyone else who would like to testify? It is *6 to unmute yourself, and I believe there's a way to raise your hand. I'm not positive on how to do that.
I'd like to make a quick comment, Judge.
Okay. Mr. McKee, I caught you first. If you can raise your right hand.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to give are the truth?
I do.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Jeff, Jeff, McKee, McKee.
What would you like to tell the commission?
I would just ask that the commission analyze this rate increase along with the annual operating budgets that are that the utility is operating by. And I think it goes along the lines of what some of the comments have been about the rate increase all at once. And it seems like there would be ways to predict some of these costs in the budget, and therefore these costs shouldn't be over and above a budget if it's a good budget. So that's all I would ask, is that they kind of analyze the budget as well.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Is there anyone else who would like to testify? It is *6 to unmute your phone, and I believe *3 to raise your hand. Okay. Chair Hahn, would you like to make a closing remark?
Sure would. Thank you so much, Judge Fuel. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. Certainly has been a long evening, but I know that we are better informed for your testimony this evening. We've gotten a lot of valuable information, very great comments, well prepared. Just appreciate the engagement and the time that it took for you all to give your perspectives this evening. So on behalf of the entire commission, thank you for your participation, and look forward to seeing some of you at the future public hearings in this case. Thank you all so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Chair. And I want to reiterate that we have 3 more local public hearings, all of which are in person. 2 tomorrow, the first in St. Joseph, Missouri at noon, and then at 6 p.m. in Kansas City. And then on Thursday, we have 1 in Joplin at 6 p.m. And if you know anyone or would like to make additional comments yourselves, and you're not able to go to one of those other local public hearings, there's a consumer comments tab that can be reached on the commission's website. That is psc.mo.gov. On the right side of the homepage, there's there's a link titled Submit Comments. You'll click on that and reference this case number GR 2025-0107. The hearing is adjourned, and we're going to go off the record. Thank you, everyone, and hope you have a good night.